Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rising Stories Podcast. This is Corine Sandifer, your host, and it's Friday Favorites Day. On Friday Favorites, I share some of my favorite things because each week or every other week when I interview a business owner or influencer or author, I ask them what their favorite things are. So I decided to start a show featuring some of my favorite things each week. And this week has been a doozy. I am so ready for the weekend, but I want to make sure that you are hitting the weekend with some of my favorite things to check out. One of the things that I'm absolutely loving these days is my eggs in the morning. I am one of those people that has to have some sort of protein in the morning. I just can't function. My brain just doesn't turn on unless I have protein. I can do without carbs. I can do without any kind of sweets. I can do without coffee even, because I'm not a coffee drinker, although I spend a lot of time at coffee shops working. But I just don't like coffee, but I really, really love my eggs. So my grandmother used to make these eggs for me, and she would use some sort of salsa that she mixed in with a scrambled egg mixture. So I've been doing that this week, and sometimes I pair it with a tortilla or some toast just to kind of give me some more energy. But a lot of times I just eat my eggs plain with salt and pepper. And sometimes I use the Goya, which is a spice that I mentioned last week. So go and check that one out too, that podcast. So I am loving my eggs. I'll have them boiled, or I'll have that recipe that I just shared with you, which is basically scrambled eggs with a little bit of salsa. And you've got to put the salsa in the pan before all the eggs are cooked, and you kind of have to mix it up. So like a tablespoon per egg. So if you have 2 eggs, add 2 tablespoons, put salt or put the Goya and some pepper, and it is delicious. My next thing is, how I am obsessed with YouTube, and I go down a lot of rabbit holes or in the hole of YouTube. Enjoy it immensely. It's like my new Netflix. I've stopped watching Netflix as much, as now I'm watching YouTube videos in my spare time when I kind of want to relax and just not think about anything. But this particular series that I've been watching it's from Glamour magazine. They did a series of videos interviewing women in New York City and how they spent their money. It was fascinating. So they don't show the faces. They just show like the bottom half of their, neck, from the neck down, and kind of they're sitting there and they're talking, and their bank statements and their spending reports are on the right-hand side. So you can see what they are spending their money on, and they're talking about it. They're talking about why they spend their money on certain things. It's just fascinating. I'll link it below because you should go check that one out. It's very interesting to see what other people spend their money on and how much they are saving and how old they are and what they're paying for rent. It just gives you a good perspective, kind of leads you back to where you are, and a reflective kind of thing for myself on how I'm spending, how and where I'm spending my money. It's just very fascinating. So I'm really enjoying that YouTube channel. So if you listen to my podcast before, you know that I ask my guests what their best business advice is. And this week I had an epiphany of a great business advice for just about anyone. And it's twofold. One is I was on one side of this coin, and then I was on the other side of the coin where, I had a situation with a business owner that it was a restaurant situation, and she wouldn't honor our agreement as far as, having a reservation. They switched owners, and the business owner or general manager of the place was very emotional with some of the things that she was sharing with me. And in the course of discussing this business deal that we were doing, it was very apparent that she could not remove herself from the emotions. So what she was giving me was a lot of emotions, and I was basically just trying to get the facts and trying to solve the problem that we had with just the facts, instead of, getting emotional about it, which I have emotions, everyone has emotions, but a lot of times you really need to just step back and look at just what's on the table here. What are we talking about? Let's just kind of pull some of those emotions and things out, and let's just look at the plain numbers and facts and the transaction that we're trying to accomplish. But the week before, which was very interesting, is I was looking at my business, and there were certain things there that I was very emotional. I was feeling that I was a failure in certain things. Things weren't thriving like I thought they would in certain areas. And I thought, well, maybe I just need to drop that because it's not, doing well. But what I told myself today was that, let's take the emotion out of it. Even if it's, a bad emotion or a good emotion, the numbers of your revenue or the, metrics of what you are gaining is what you need to look at. Instead of, it's good to have emotions and they have their place, but it's also a time, sometimes when you are running a business, it's just a time to just step back and go, okay, but what are the facts? And let's go with that first and see, make a decision based on, what is good for your business, instead of, I'm getting the warm fuzzies here, or I'm not getting the warm fuzzies here. But if it's working, then maybe we just need to change our perspective on it. My next favorite thing is a restaurant. I am loving this place in Nashville called Proper Bagel. If you love bagels, this is a great place to come to. If you love all the things that you can put on bagels and inside bagels, you will just feel like you died and went to heaven. There is a plethora of things that you can add to your bagel. They also have like several flavors of cream cheese. They have tons of different types of bagels. They also have a bakery, a little bit of some bakery stuff, unique things. They have salads and all kinds of things, but one of my favorites is just an everything bagel with the lox and cream cheese. It is delicious. And this is how I order my bagel. I don't know how anybody else orders it. This is the best way. And my most favorite way is an everything bagel sliced and double toasted. I just want it crispy on the outside and chewy on the inside. That is how I love my bagels. And my favorite bagel of all time is someplace in New York City. I had some bagels, or a bagel with a egg mixture, and it was delicious. So, and you know how I love eggs. So it was primo. I love that it's crispy and crunchy on the outside and kind of more gummy on the inside. My favorite. My other thing that I'm just loving these days, I always ask my guests what their favorite app is. And my favorite app of all time that I use quite frequently, just about anywhere and everywhere, I used it today, is my Amazon app. Now, I don't always order stuff from Amazon. I do order things from Amazon, but the way I use my app is not just for ordering, but it's also for keeping track of, or keeping a running list of my favorite books. So today someone mentioned a book. I went on Amazon. I found it. I'm very visual, so I saw it. She said, hey, it's got a flag with the Statue of Liberty on it, on the cover. So, yep, I found it, and I put it in my book list. So that's where I keep my book list, is in my Amazon wish list. And make sure that if you do that, that you make all your lists private, unless you want everybody to see what your list is. Now, I do have a public store on Amazon that I have added all of my favorite things from Amazon, things that we've talked about on the show, and things that I personally love. There's some on packing, like luggage and packing. There's books that I'm loving, that I love and totally recommend. I believe I also have some things that I have in my home office that you might enjoy looking at. So you can visit my store, Rising Stories and Corine Sandifer, and it's on Amazon. I will link it below. Those are my Friday favorites, and I hope that you have a great weekend. And don't forget to hit subscribe on iTunes or YouTube. We're also on Spotify. We'll have another episode next week. I would love for you to join us. And also, there's the Amazon store. Don't forget to visit that and check out some of the books and items that I recommend. Thanks so much for listening, and keep rising in your story.